What's going on, good people? It's your boy once again, John, the Date Dr. Clark, and I got a little something I want to get off my chest. I call it cancer, um, and I want you to confuse it with the medical terminology. I want you to confuse it with sometimes the unfortunate abnormality that kind of increases the chance of having abnormal cells within our body that causes nothing but toxic, that causes nothing but tension, that causes nothing but frustration, that causes more of a decrease in the ability to sometimes want to live, and sometimes it can cause the decrease in the abilities for some doctors not to be able to revive us and to allow us to live a better life. But let's compare it to something that's just as much as valuable as our life. And let's compare it to something as it relates towards love and affection and relationships. So I want to start with the first acronym, the C in cancer. Sometimes it's the lack of communication that we have in our relationship. Sometimes it's the lack of communication that we have in our marriage that really causes that friction, that really causes that tension, that really causes that toxic. It really causes some of those things that kind of keeps us away from really loving each other. Allows us to keep us from doing what we need to do to kind of really embrace each other. Ladies and gentlemen, cancer. Ladies and gentlemen, cancer, the C. The second thing, the A. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of times we don't pay attention. A lot of times we don't pay attention. A lot of times we're not paying attention and not giving that necessary affection and or attention that can really embrace our love and our affection that we're showing towards one another. Do you all hear what I'm saying? A lot of times we're not showing that affection. A lot of times we're not showing that attention that can cause that frustration, that can cause that toxic, that can cause that tension, that can cause so much turmoil. Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear what it is that I'm saying? Cancer, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes we're lacking that communication. Sometimes we're lacking that affection, that attention that's really going to cause us to want to do better. Ladies and gentlemen, the third thing, the neglect. By a show of hands, by a show of winks, by a show of views, when was the last time you decided to ignore your significant other because you weren't getting your way? When was the last time that you decided to neglect everything that your partner represented because you wanted to prove a pointless point? I'm going to say it again just in case there was an echo. When was the last time that you tried to prove a pointless point just to get your pointless point across that still didn't have any legitimacy to it? Ladies and gentlemen, as individuals, when we think of the term neglect, when we think of the term abuse, we think that someone's physically abusing someone. But if you think about it, abuse is not all about the physical aspect. Nowadays, abuse is more so of the emotional aspect. It's the verbal aspect. It's the non-physical content aspect of what we're doing, such as name calling, such as emotionally abusing each other, such as calling us anything outside of what it says in our birth certificate, such as calling anything out what it says that's totally against our social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear what it is that I'm saying? Cancer, that lack of communication, that lack of affection and or attention, and that neglect that we're doing, in which we need to stop, in which we need to improve on. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to do better. Cancer. The second C. What it is the concrete that we're lacking. What I mean by concrete, I mean concrete as in that stable foundation that we definitely need to. What I mean by that stable foundation, what do I mean by that concrete? I mean by the platform that kind of keeps us together. Let's compare it to Christ. When was the last time you prayed? When was the last time you had a conversation with the Lord when you weren't demanding? When was the last time you had that conversation with the foundation in the sky? When was the last time you had that conversation with the Lord in the sky and you didn't need anything? Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear what it is that I'm saying? Imagine trying to build a house. Imagine trying to build a home. Imagine trying to build a hospital facility and your foundation is not in order and you're not as concrete and you're not as stable, you're not as structured. Imagine what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Cancer. Do you hear what it is that I'm saying? The concrete of it. The attention, the lack of affection of it. The neglect of it. The lack of communication of it. Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear what it is that I'm saying? Cancer. Do you see what it is that the majority of us as human beings, not as males, not as females, but both of us are doing that's providing so much cancer, so much tension, so much toxic into our home that it's kind of hard to overwhelm some of those. It's kind of hard to step outside of that box on some of those things so we can begin to have peace and happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, cancer. Now the E. The enthusiasm, the endurance. Sometimes when we look at that particular definition, it kind of makes us want to strive. It makes us want to be more motivated. It makes us to want to live longer. It makes us want to last longer. Not last longer within the sexual category, but ladies and gentlemen, last longer as a form of consistency. Last longer as a form of consistency. Last longer as far as a continuation, wanting to do better, doing those same things that kind of made you want to continue to show love for your partner, doing those same things that you used to do when you first hooked up with him or her, doing some of those same things that you do that makes you want to smile, that makes you want to grin on the inside, doing those same things that keeps you happy and her happy or him happy. Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear what it is about the endurance of it? Do you hear what it is about the endurance of it? Do you hear what it is about the endurance of it? Ladies and gentlemen, cancer. Sometimes it's that lack of communication. Sometimes it's that lack of affection or that lack of attention. Sometimes it's so much of the neglect. So much is that lack of concrete or that lack of foundation of it, ladies and gentlemen. Do you hear what it is that I'm saying? Cancer. A lot of times it's the lack of endurance, the lack of consistency that we're doing. Do you hear what it is that I'm saying? And last but definitely not least, the R, the most important part of the cancer, the respect. When was the last time you showed your significant other that you love him or her? When was the last time that you opened the door for your significant other? When was the last time that you gave your significant other a compliment? Ladies and gentlemen, when was the last time that you showed signs of respect towards your significant other? When was that last time? Cancer. Do you hear what it is that I'm saying? Do you feel what it is that I'm saying? Do you feel it in your spirit? Do you feel it in your bones? Ladies and gentlemen, cancer. It's an unfortunate abnormality of cells that have somehow taken over our body, and sometimes it's uncontrollable. But imagine, merge it into today's time. Merge it into today's time where we're in relationships, where we're in marriages, and sometimes the divorce rate is constantly going up. Because why? Because it's the cancer that we have. The lack of the concrete, the lack of the affection, the continuation of the neglect, the lack of structure, the lack of communication, the lack of endurance, and last but definitely not least, it's the lack of respect that we have not only for ourselves, but for our significant other. Ladies and gentlemen, feel free to share this video. Cancer. Feel free to share this video to the world because we need it. A lot of our relationships, a lot of our situationships, a lot of our marriages are engulfed with cancer. And it's time for us to do opposite of that. Let's begin to have that concrete. Let's begin to communicate. Let's begin to show signs of affection. Let's stop neglecting each other. Let's begin to boost up that endurance. And let's begin to respect each other. It's your boy, John the Date Dr. Clark. I love you all. Let's be cancer free. And I'm out.